Hey, hey friends, it's Joe from DadBod. Today it's around 36 degrees and 6 a.m. in Tokyo, and we have like a run, walk, maybe? I've been injured for the last 2 weeks, so if we do anything, we need to have exceptional form. So let me pop you on my head, and we'll get to work. Originally, I was gonna bike, but then I parked here, and I was like, I could probably do this. That said, I'm not wearing my running shoes, which is why I'm a little apprehensive. There's always something in the way, always some excuse we could make to keep us from just boldly going into our next. But I hope you're doing well. This is my first live on YouTube in a while, so it's nice to be back. I've been laser focused on grad school, like aggressively focused on grad school. It's exhausting. Starting the workout. Let me turn down my phone. Let me get YouTube. It's weird working out in the sunshine. Makes me uncomfortable. I feel like Batman sometimes. So we've had a host of hip flexor, hamstring issues. We manifested it, or we kind of isolated it. That's a hip flexor problem. So I've been rehabbing that really well. A second. But today we're gonna focus on good form. And normally this is our fartlek, so maybe I'll do a run jog, nice and easy. Now, once upon a time, I tried running in these shoes. It did not go well. But I did go like 8 miles, which is my own fault. Dang it. Turn off. Crap. There we go. But yeah, I went running in these shoes once. Sorry. I'm getting all my tech set up. It was not a good experience. These don't really have ankle support. But what we're gonna do is a brisk walk, a couple periods of light jog, just to see if I could jog with good core contraction, good forward tilt. It would be my first time in 2 weeks, so I'm a little apprehensive, naturally. I'm getting back to it. Let's take this to the steps. So what I want to focus on is squeezing kind of my lower abs. Keeping my feet landing under or slightly behind me. Definitely keeping things conversational pace. But if I start to feel, especially my left leg, slip out from under me, more towards the front, then we're back in the walk. Now upstairs is actually the safest thing for my form. Oh, someone said. Downstairs and downhills, like what's coming, it's a little bit more vulnerable. It's nice being back though, getting out. We've done all kinds of wild things to rehabilitate ourselves. So we get to kind of see if we're back on the path. We've done bike riding. We've done Supernatural and Beat Saber for VR. We've done a lot of strength, mobility work. Let's walk. Let's hit our deadlifts. Kick it back. Squeeze at the top. Squeeze at the top. One more. Tuck. Walk. But what we haven't done is put our body weight back on our little legs and get out there. So this is kind of opening things up. But I'll see if I can at least get to the water. Now already, only, you know, we've only done a quarter of a mile. My feet are already sore because of these shoes. So running in bad shoes off of an injury is ill-advised. And there's areas where I can feel certain things favoring, twisted. So wiggling my knees. Doing some deadlift work. Stretching out hamstrings. I want to see if we could kind of get back. I was going to say get back to some level of athleticism, but that'd perpetuate the lie that we lost all athleticism during our 2 weeks of rehab and recovery. And we know that's not true. My cardio might have dipped, but I've eaten fairly well, generally speaking. So we need to start trusting that we're not in bad shape with any of this. Beautiful sunrise. Let's do a couple hip flexor pulls. Scoot my pack. So lifting the right leg is still problematic. So one thing that I've been doing, I'm trying to work through ATG, which is like a different methodology to strength and mobility. And as I started working through that, I found that I aggressively had favored strength in one hip flexor over another. So let's do a split squat. Oh. And press off. Let's do another one. So this hip flexor, way tighter than the other one. I'm just kind of doing like a lunge, trying to work things out. Let's walk. Tracting core. So, based on certain aspects of my gait, and gait is just how you move, I was kind of twisted and favoring one hip flexor over another. And some of those things were like, once I started unlocking it through this program, it felt like I had injured it. Where really, like, I had probably been running with this instability for months, this asymmetry. So it's good to kind of work into it, you know? And then I've been doing a lot of strength work to kind of get better strength through flexion, But all these things are finding like where one half of my body is more stretched, balancing the other. I'm gonna do a couple deep squats over here. So today's kind of about doing what feels good, if that makes sense. Squat number 2. Well, you get to enjoy some river sounds. Well, heck, well, I get to enjoy some river sounds. I haven't been out here forever. It's been almost a full 2 weeks since I've run. All right, we'll walk this nice little lazy stretch. When we get to the crosswalk, we'll pick it up. Now, one thing I'm finding already is there's definitely some twists, definitely some things pulling. Oh, got a nice back crack. So I need to be very vigilant with form, otherwise I'm going to be right back right back to hobbling, hurt, injured Joe, and we don't have time for that. So we're gonna try to be careful this workout. We're gonna respect our body, and the other thing is just respect the natural pacing of recovery. When you stretch out and try to do something new, you might find areas that were weak, or like things that are twisted and not symmetric. Like I ride a desk, right? So as an engineer, I'm on my desk a lot, and my right shoulder is kind of dipped and over rotated forward because I always hold my mouse out in a weird way. Like the ergo's not perfect, so a lot of my strength work is trying to restore that. Man, it's beautiful. I missed my water. So one of the things that I'm trying to do, ooh, some nice trash on the floor. You rarely see that in Japan. That's strange. I feel a moral responsibility to pick it up. It's so weird, but I'm not gonna do that. Yo, Norman, how's it going? It's our first workout out in nature in like 2 weeks. We on our last long run, we messed things up a little bit, so I've done like 2 weeks of strength and stability, basically rehab. Figure out what's going on. All right, we're gonna do another split squat right over here. So I'm just gonna put my leg up on this thing, lunge into it. Whew. Ah, cat. There's a cat watching us. It's nice. Whew. Gonna spend some time here before heading to sleep. My sleep has been under control recently. Well, that's boring. Oh, that's awesome, Norman. We think so much better when we get sleep, which is why parents normally have a foggy brain. Although, before going on this run, because I woke up at like 4:30 and Felicia was up, which is a symptom of baby Akio. She's like, hey, can you pump his legs? He looks like he's having a hard time. Basically, because Norman, you're not a father. Like, babies, their gestational tract, their GI tract isn't optimal. So they get really bad gas and constipated. And you gotta like lovingly kind of fold their knees into their chest and pedal their feet and throw them up on your shoulder, on their belly. Give them the right pressure to kind of progress a poop. She's like, hey, she's like, can you pump his feet before you go? So I gave him some good pumps, and I didn't get any poop or farts though, so mission not successful, but I passed him off to her to feed. And then I came out here and got to hang out with you. All right, we're doing a couple deadlifts. Let's try to jog again. safe. I'm being very, very careful. Wondering where Joe's been. Yeah, Joe's been in a grad school focus hole, which has been really challenging and edifying. First of which, like, I don't want to be in a grad school focus hole. When I hang out with my kids, it's their spring break. And instead of really hanging out with them, I've been throwing 5 to 9 hours of a day at school. I took a double course load in order to graduate this term, but I also took it overlapping with Felicia's birth, and the original plan was Felicia was gonna have the baby a few weeks later, so I was gonna get like ahead, like finish the class early. But she had that 14 days of labor, 10 in the hospital, and the whole thing was just a mess. I have hiccups. Yeah, the whole thing is just a complete mess. And then recovery stretched out way longer than we projected. So, and then every time I went to look at school, I was so buried and so overwhelmed that I just closed it and crap. Like figuring out how to get my short form content out there with my new editing approach. All right, let's get a deadlift. We're almost to the water, we could do it. Damn, baby, just kind of chilling, demand stuff. I know, right? So demanding, so rude. Let's do a couple hip flexors, forward steps. So it's funny, when I lift my left leg, there's no stretch or pull. When I lift my right leg, my left hip flexor is like, what the heck are you doing? So super asymmetric strength and mobility in those areas, and it's causes a lot of like shift in my sacrum and my hip and gait, and I think that's what did me in 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to get that all level. But anyway, I reached out to both my professors and I was like, hey, this is the kind of birth experience that happened. This is why I disappeared. And here comes like the bold ask. What is the latest I can turn anything in? You know, like multiple weeks late. One professor was like, the deadline's today. The other one said the deadline's last week. And I pushed for it and it just wasn't possible, but I just kept working. I just kept like pumping out discussion posts, and eventually the final paper got a 99.2 in that class. Today's the final push for my other class. I got 2 weeks worth of discussion posts and journals and a final paper to write. And luckily we have a friend coming over for a play date with the kids, which means I have good coverage. You know, 2 moms on 5 kids is a lot easier than 1 mom on 4. Ooh, let's stretch here. I like this. I'm just gonna lean forward, kick our leg back. Although I realize this would look really weird, so let's not do that. That looks like psychotic. Japanese houses are so cool. Oh yeah. Well, England, you build your houses out of stone, right? There's Mount Fuji. So anyway, we've been up against the clock every day, all right? Trying to hammer out school, trying to face our fear and shame of not having been done with this by now. Should I be rude? Should I stop all these cars trying to get to work? Should I let them go? Oh, sorry. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, most of them are brick houses. Yeah, that sounds about right for the UK. Tuck the core. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, 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 ba. This is our jogging noise, apparently. So being in the walk run space is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's Mount Fuji, that white peak right over there. Yeah, school! Yeah, I know. And it's like doing school when I should be off hanging out with the babe and the kids, especially on their spring break, has felt just awful, but I've tried to be present in the gaps where I can. But I was talking with Felicia, I was like, it feels like my fault, this feels wrong, like poor stewardship. But I also have to remind myself, like, we had an emergency delivery and a really complicated delivery. And there's a lot of things outside of our control and outside of our planning. So that's where this adjustment is. But if I finish the final paper today, and if I get higher than a B-, J&J reimburses me for my academics. So I am kind of working for about $2,000. And on top of that, I believe I should graduate. I have to confirm it, but I think that's the end, which is also amazing. Like, I've doubled my course load 3 quarters in a row while doing global leadership with J&J in Japan and taking care of all these kids. It's been death. But the reason I did it was I hit a point 4 quarters ago where I was just struggling to keep up with school and kids, and feeling like I wasn't present in the things I wanted to be present. I wasn't able to do the things I wanted to do because I was still locked into school. And I kind of hit this point of like, especially because we found we're expecting our 4th, I was like, I need to be done. Like, it's time to just be done with this experience. It's been a great experience, but it's time for it to be over, so I could look on towards greater, better things, you know? And well, I found a better experience. All right, you know what it is, Norman. This is our 5 minutes of chill, of reflection. For anyone who might be lurking, running has always been kind of a therapeutic, reflective, kind of spiritual practice for me, to kind of get out and wrestle through stuff in my head and pray. So I'd like to give members of our community 5 minutes of stillness, mindfulness, peace, prayer, from whatever faith or spiritual context you come from. So I'm going to pop you off my head, try to find a nice aesthetic view of the river. I'm going to go off and think for a minute without falling into the river. And then we'll be back. Let's see. This all looks slightly sketch. I want to get you close to the water, but I don't want you to fall in. Here's a nice little cliff. Assuming you don't fall in. Here, we'll wrap the string around there for extra safety. And we'll put a rock on for good measure. Yeah, that looks nice. So yeah, friends, I'm gonna give you 6:21. I'll give you till like 6:26. I'll be back. This is a beautiful spot. Yeah, enjoy. Relax, bud. See you soon. Hey friends, did you fall into the water? Hi. You get to look at my ugly mug again. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed a small moment of stillness in a fast-paced, swipey world. I know I did, which is cool. Actually, it's a neat camera spot because I can kind of come in the frame. Not that it's about me, but normally I just show the water, and like with that I could show the water and that little tree and me squatting in the corner, like, I don't know, being mindful and stuff. It's neat. I'm actually studying like Buddhism and Zen and Taoism. It's the class I'm finishing up, and I've learned so much about quote-unquote Asian spirituality and the diverse perspectives represented in it, which is just wonderful. And there's a lot of things that for me as a Christian I can still pull into my context to just help me progress in my own personal faith and things. So very, very cool stuff. Let's see. Oops. Something has happened. Oh, 1 second. Gotta cover my screen. Okay. On my way home. I know who I am. I am a one. Alright. We pull open YouTube. We're gonna make our way back home because a child has awakened. And naturally, it's my responsibility to feed and care for the child. I gotta clean the house because Felicia's got a play date with another mom, and their kids can have fun. So I gotta make things look nice, and I gotta crank out 2 final weeks of school, a final paper, which I was kind of just thinking about over there. And we should be in good shape. The focus of the paper, this one's gonna be for my Asian spirituality class, so studying Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, like traditional Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, or Chan from China, Zen Buddhism from Japan, depending on how you contextualize it, Neo-Confucianism. I think is that all of them? I've learned a lot. You have to shoot on home? Well, it's gonna take me a while. I just have to return from where I came. Yeah, I gotta keep working in this hip flexor. It's nice to know where there's a problem. Alright, let's hit these steps. You know, and I gotta tell myself I gotta keep going easy. I'm not actively registered for a half marathon. Doesn't mean I should just stop, but does mean I can respect and honor my body's need to strategically recover. But anyway, my final class for Asian spirituality, I can basically do whatever I want for the final paper. You know, so for some people they'll write about like missional engagement of those communities, or justice for Asian people, DE&I. Because I'm on diversity, equity, and inclusion. For me, I'm most interested in writing about right here, like my digital context, the way that I make my live streams more inclusive to different peoples from a wide range of faith and spirituality contexts. what practices and principles I can employ as I interact with people, what language I can use when we take that intentional 5 minutes. And how we can still kind of have our diverse perspectives, or ways that we see the world and live within the world, but still create like common space. So what I'm thinking about writing on is, if I'm live and we're doing that little river experience and I'm engaging a Neo-Confucius, a Taoist, a traditional Buddhist, a Zen Buddhist, like how I can act in love with the way that I carry myself and communicate. And then maybe the last portion of it is how I can actually honorably take principles, principles from those belief sets and bring them into my own practice as well. Now let's walk for a minute. So that's what I'm thinking about. Just doing German is such a good moment. Okay, enjoy your German, but I didn't know you were studying Sprechende Deutsch. So that's what I'm thinking about writing on. So for me, I don't necessarily need a lot of time to crank out a final paper. And maybe it's just that my brain's been trained by too many all-nighters in my youth, like when I was young like you, Lucius. But crow! What I do try to do is think through or visualize where the paper's gonna go and what it'll mean to me or someone else who picks it up. Like with any assignment for school, one thing I've done intentionally is like contextualization. Like, how do I take this paper that I'm writing from, for instance, like a Christian global leader perspective, but how do I contextualize it in a way where it's both meaningful to me or someone else within my leadership context or within my digital content creation context? Because my hope is, after I finish grad school, revisit everything I've written over the last 5 years, edit it, remove a couple personal anecdotes that are a little bit too revealing, a little bit too honest. Things that give away my position, and then be able to share it. And I want to do the same thing with people that I mentor. It's one of the reasons I'm moving towards authorship and writing short kind of career enrichment novellas, is to provide people with stories and examples that they can use in their context. And that'll be the one-on-one with the pretentious engineer. So one thing I want to do is just stretch this. Yep. Inside, it's tighter. But one of the cool things coming, Norman and others, besides writing's cool. So I'm about to have 50 days to focus on content creation in the channel because I'm on parental leave. I have to be careful with my language because that focus first is on new baby, kids, and wife. That's why J&J gives me the space to be present at home. But there's always also something else in life that pops in. You know, I gotta get Akio a passport and a visa, all those other logistical things. Oh yeah, let's run the stairs. The reason I like running the stairs right now, I mean I hate running the stairs, is
from a form perspective, it's a little bit less vulnerable going uphill or upstairs than downhill or downstairs for me right now. So I'm trying to make the most. Let's go. Yeah, it's been fun. Oh, I see what you did there with the jaw. Ich find Linner or something. What's a JFK say? Oh, visa for the baby. Yeah. Whew. We've already submitted the visa application. Yeah, come on. Get to the top. Out of breath is good. Nice. Deadlift. Squeeze. That's what happens when you skip cardio. It's normal though. And we're asking certain muscles and weakest links to adjust. So it's good. Oh, that's a magnolia tree. Beautiful. Japan has like some of the best foliage. Some of it just comes from like Zen's emphasis on moving towards oneness with nature. So they bring nature into the common spaces. They curate really wonderful gardens. That was great. All right. So, ideally, we get back uninjured. That's what we're going for here. But we're finding just a lot of asymmetries of strength and mobility. So it's a good workout. Really good workout today. My hope is that I don't feel hobbly or injured getting home. I think there's still some stretching I need to do, some stabilizing. I gotta be really careful not to overstretch in this season. Alright, let's jog it. Stairs are our friend. Whew. Stairs are our friend. Here we go. There's your cover from the thumbnail. Caught it at a sunrise once. It was awesome. It's a little bit less aesthetic with all these darn cars. Tight core. Come on. Busy road. Yeah. Really kills the vibe. Hate that road. It like takes cherry block. Take it in, Lucius. Alright. Pretty good form. Trying to decide how far we jog it out. And I mean, very careful with form and impact. Here's a good spot. Whew. Yes, one of the beauties of Japan. Oh, the blossoms. The blossoms are great. Cherry blossoms, plum blossoms, whatever the heck those are. It's all good times. Angry Peanut Head. No, you didn't miss the stream. We're on our final little trottle. Nice to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. This is our first run walk back in about 2 weeks. On our last long run, we got cut short. We thought we were having a hamstring issue again, but I've been able to figure out it's a lack of openness on one of my hip flexors was causing a lot of shift, unloading of my hip and back. There's a lot of sharp pain. So I spent about 2 weeks rehabbing it, doing a lot of strength, mobility work, low impact stuff. We did one IRL bike ride towards Tokyo Tower. That was cool. As well as some Beat Saber. But yeah, it's been fun. So we're just wrapping up. Oh, there's barely any garages. They're all so tight. Yes, space is a premium in Japan. Excited to go be a dad again to my beautiful 4 children. Should be nice. Here's your down view of the ravine. We used to run alongside that little river. There's waterfalls and stuff, but they've blocked it off because a couple trees fell. It's been blocked for almost a year. Nice double chin. It's great. Also, friends, if you want to support the channel, over the last 2 weeks, I've consistently put out 2 shorts a day. So if you wanted to binge those, comment on them, share them with your friends. I'm basically trying to reactivate the YouTube algorithm. We are monetized now, so I've made about $1 on some of the more successful videos that got around 100 or 10K. And then I've made, I don't know, 10 cents on the little ones, which is totally fine. And then long form content, we have the roadmap video, which has gone out. And then I've done another podcast episode called like the, what is it? The Wonders and the Horrors of Assumptions. So that should be right on our page. That one's about 22 minutes, just going through different methodologies of evaluating risk as an engineer that you could apply to your career. Lucius, you could apply it to your schooling and choices you make in that space. And then